Hi, welcome to the Healing Work where we focus on self-discovery and spiritual growth. I'm Chastity. Welcome to my channel. I hope you all have had a great Monday. I have. I'm excited to be back so we can begin reading chapter 5 of The Power, of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. Let's get started. So the title of this chapter is called Mental Healings in Modern Times. Think and plan independently of traditional methods. Know that there's always an answer and a solution to every problem. What is it that heals? Where's the healing power? And how can it be put to practical use? These are vital questions of deep concern to all of us. To all of them, the answer is the same. This healing power is the subconscious mind of every person, and a changed mental attitude on the part of the sick person releases this healing power. No mental or religious science practitioner, psychologist, psychiatrist, or medical doctor ever healed a patient. There's an old saying, the doctor dresses the wound, but God heals it. The psychologist and psychiatrist makes effective change by removing the mental blocks in the patient so that the healing principle may be released, restoring the patient to health. In the same way, the surgeon removes the physical block, enabling the healing currents to function normally. No physician, surgeon, or mental science practitioner can legitimately claim that he or she healed the patient. The one healing power may be called by many different names: nature, life, God, creative intelligence. But in reality, they are simply different ways to refer to subconscious power. As we've already seen, there are many different ways we can use to remove the mental, emotional, and physical blocks that inhibit the flow of the healing life principle animating all of us. The healing principle resident in your subconscious mind can and will, if properly directed by you or some other person, heal your mind and body of all disease. The healing principle operates in all people, regardless of creed, color, or race. You do not have to belong in some particular church in order to use and participate in this healing process. Your subconscious will heal and burn or cut your hand, even if you profess to be an atheist or agnostic. I want to go back to physical blocks, just to make sure that we're understanding, like, physical blocks or any thoughts, behavior, person, place, or thing that prohibits you from experiencing the desired result. So think about it. If you're thinking of something, like if you want to be healed, a physical block that you could potentially experience are thoughts of you not being healed. So that's a physical block. Be mindful of that when you meet it. Analyze where that thought may be coming from. Maybe it was an experience you had with a family member that created a negative thought process around healing. Maybe it may go back further than that. Just realize it for what it is. If you want to journal it, that would be a good idea to kind of think and break down where those thoughts come from. Give it peace, let it go, and adopt behaviors and thoughts that will mimic and align with your healing. An example of that would be, I know I'm going to be healed of this. So any thoughts that you would have would align of you being healed. If you're not able to walk, I see myself walking in whatever desired time. So let's work on removing those physical blocks. Modern mental healing is based on the truth that infinite intelligence and power of your subconscious mind responds according to your faith. Many science practitioners or ministers follow the injunction of the Bible. This is, they go into their closet and shut the door, which means they still their minds, relax, let go, and think of the infinite healing presence within them. These closed doors of their mind to all outside distraction as well as appearance, and then they can quietly and knowingly turn over their request to desire to their subconscious mind, realizing that the intelligence of their mind will answer them according to their specific needs. They're praying. Many of us have gotten out of the habit of praying, so we're not able to center ourselves and the right thoughts that we need to better our lives, our children's lives, our friends' lives, the neighbor down the street. Take and make more time to pray. So important. And I hate to say this, but I'm gonna be honest. There was a point in my life that I went, I'm not sure how long, but I went without praying. Not that I didn't have faith. I just never prayed. And when you have prayer, you're able to quiet and center your mind to give thanks for what blessings you have received or will receive. And it allows you to become more with God. So if you're not praying, like I said, I've been there before. Give yourself grace, but definitely adapt prayer back into your life. The most wonderful thing to know is this: imagine the end desire and feel its reality. Then the infinite life principle will respond to your conscious choice and your conscious requests. I just want to insert something here shortly, because I know a lot of times, depending on how in which you grew up, I'm speaking of religion here, you might have been encouraged or programmed to pray and just leave and leave and trust and depend on God, and that's perfectly fine. But in doing that, to magnify that prayer, he's basically telling us you got to think towards the end of that prayer. If you're praying for a family member that's sick or ill, you're praying for someone that's lost their job, you got to see and believe that friend or family member as being healed. That may implore you taking action to, oh, I know John is going to be healed next month. I'm going to encourage him up to next month because we're going to go take him to the symphony or wherever you guys may go. What was the other example I gave? It slipped my mind that fast, but you get the point. You got to be able to think about the end desire of whatever you're praying for. If you're rooted in the possibility of it, just leaving it to the universe, it still can, universe, God, whatever, it still can happen. But if you change your thoughts and your behavior and your actions to align with what you're praying for, that magnifies and encourage the said thing to come to fruition, because you're aligning yourself with it. The most wonderful thing to know is this: imagine the end desire and feel its reality. Then the infinite life principle will respond to your conscious choice and your conscious request. This is the meaning of the text: believe you have received and you shall receive. This is what the modern mental scientist does when he or she practices prayer therapy. One process of healing. There's only one universal healing principle operating through everything. We can consciously direct it to bless ourselves in countless ways. There are many different approaches, techniques, and methods in using this universal power, but there is only one process of healing, which is faith, for according to your faith it is done unto you. The law of belief. All religions of the world represent forms of belief, and these beliefs are explained in many ways. The law of life is belief. What do you believe about yourself, life, and the universe? Whatever you pray for in faith, you shall receive. Belief is thought in your mind that causes the power of your subconscious to be distributed into all phases of your life according to your thinking habits. You must realize that when the Bible speaks of belief, it is not talking about your belief in some ritual, ceremony, form, institution, or formula. It's talking about belief itself. The belief of your mind is simply the thought of your mind. Everything is possible to one who has faith. Mark 9:23. It is foolish to believe in something that will hurt or harm you. Remember, it is not the thing believed in that hurts or harms you, but the belief or thought in your mind that creates the result. All your experiences, all your actions, and all events and circumstances of your life are but the reflections and reactions to your own thought. My goodness. And so many of us don't see it. And we're not able to see it because we are surrounded by so many distractions. But this goes back to, if you get in the posture of prayer, you allow the mind, body, and spirit to slow down and become more one with God. You'll begin to recognize this. The conscious and subconscious minds scientifically directed. Prayer meditation therapy is the synchronized, harmonious, and intelligent function of the conscious and subconscious levels of mind, specifically directed for a definite purpose. In scientific prayer or prayer therapy, you must know what you are doing, why you are doing it. You trust the law of healing. Prayer or meditation therapy is sometimes referred to as mental or psychological treatment. Another term is scientific prayer. In this form of therapy, you consciously choose a certain idea, mental picture, or a plan that you desire to experience. You realize your capacity to convey this idea or mental image to your subconscious by feeling the reality of the state assumed. As you remain faithful in your mental attitude, your prayer or meditation will be answered. Such therapy is a definite mental action for a definite specific purpose. And it's going to be hard. There's going to be something, someone, or maybe it may be yourself, that's going to get in the way. But you have to stay focused on the desired end. Let us suppose that you decide to heal a certain difficulty by prayer or meditation therapy. You are aware that your problem or sickness, whatever it may be, must be caused by negative thoughts charged with fear and lodged in your subconscious mind. You realize that if you can succeed in cleansing your mind of these thoughts, you will get healing. You therefore turn to the healing power within your subconscious mind. You remind yourself of its infinite power and intelligence and its capacity to heal all conditions. As you dwell on these truths, your fear will begin to dissolve. The recollection of these truths battles ultimately overcomes the erroneous beliefs. I have been going through this so much in the last, I'll say, month. My day can be going perfectly fine, and I will get these random thoughts. And previously, I used to be in a headspace where I would get these thoughts and I would allow them to permeate. Now, I see them for what they are. If I have time to analyze them and not suppress them, I will try to go through that. But if not, I'm immediately like, cancel, cut, delete. That thought does not align with what I know I'm destined for. And I'm moving on to something else. Stop permeating on thoughts. Stop speaking words. Stop doing things that are keeping you from where you need to be. You give thanks for the healing that you know will come. Then you keep your mind off the difficulty until you feel guided after an interval to pray or meditate again. While you're so doing, you refuse to give any power to the negative conditions or to admit for a second that the healing will not come. The attitude of mind brings about the harmonious union of the conscious and subconscious mind, which releases the healing power. Faith healing, what it means, how blind faith works. What is popularly known as faith healing is not faith spoken of in the Bible, which means knowledge of the interaction of the conscious and subconscious mind. A faith healer is one who heals without any real scientific understanding of powers and forces involved. He or she may claim a special gift of healing, and the sick person's blind belief in him or her and his or her powers may bring results. Sorry, I butchered it. Let me read that again. He or she may claim a special gift of healing, and the sick person's blind belief in him or her in his or her powers may bring results. In many parts of the world, traditional healers treat their patients by dances, incantations, invocations of spirits. A person may be healed by touching the relics of a saint, wearing special ritual garb, lighting a holy incense, stick or candle, or drinking a mixture of brewed herbs. Anything that leads the patient to honestly believe in the method or process will make a healing more likely. Many of us are needing healing, but us being rooted physically, spiritually, mentally, in the very thing that's ailing us is preventing that. If you're stuck in the house and you're sick, get outside. Sit in the sun. 2 or 3 minutes, 5 minutes, an hour if you can. Do it in intervals. You're going to feel much better. You sitting down in that house with experiencing that illness at the lowest of lows. Your body, your spirit can't perceive anything better than that circumstances because you can't see it, you're not feeling it. You're rooted, your life is rooted in that sickness. It's the same thing with your speech. If you're sick, you have to speak words of healing over yourself, or if it's for someone else, over that other person. The Bible says in the beginning was the Word. What words are you speaking over yourself or someone else that may be experiencing sickness? Any method that causes you to move from fear and to worry to faith and expectancy will heal. Any method that causes you to move from fear and worry to faith and expectancy will heal. Many people claim that their individual theories produce results. They must therefore be correct and true. As we've already seen, this cannot be right. To illustrate how blind faith works, think back to our discussion of the Swiss physician Franz Anton Mesmer. In 1776, he claimed to have produced many cures by stroking the bodies of the patient with magnets. As noted in the previous chapter, he changed his method and threw away the magnets and simply made passes with his hands to a short distance from the patient. This too worked. To explain the success of this new procedure, Mesmer evolved the theory, which he called animal magnetism. This, he claimed, was fluid that pervades the universe, but is most active in human organisms. He claimed that this magnetic fluid was being transmitted from his hands to the diseased bodies of his patients, and this transfer of animal magnetism was what healed them. People flocked to him, and many wonderful cures were reported. Mesmer moved to Paris. There, the government appointed a commission to investigate his cures. Its members included prominent physicians and members of the Academy of Science, of which Benjamin Franklin was a member. After thorough inquiry, the commission admitted that Mesmer had produced confirmed cures. It held, however, that there were no evidence to prove that the correctness of his magnetic fluid theory. It suggested that the effects were due to the imagination of the patients. Soon after this, Mesmer was driven into exile. He died in 1850. Shortly afterward, Dr. James Braid of Manchester, England, undertook to show that magnetic fluid had nothing to do with the production of the healings of Dr. Mesmer. Dr. Braid discovered that patients could be thrown into hypnotic sleep by suggestion, which they were in the hypnotic trance. He succeeded in producing many of the amazing phenomena that Mesmer had ascribed to animal magnetism. You can readily see that all these cures were undoubtedly brought about by the active imaginations of the patients together, with a powerful suggestion of health to their subconscious minds. You can readily see that all these cures were undoubtedly brought about by the active imagination of the patients together with a powerful suggestion of health to their subconscious minds. It's not unfair to call this blind faith because neither the patients nor the practitioners understood how the cures were brought about. Your mind is not evil. No force of nature is evil. It depends upon how you use the powers of nature. Use your mind to bless, heal, and inspire all people everywhere. You build a new body every 11 months. Change your body by changing your thoughts and keeping them changed. When your mind is relaxed and you accept an idea, your subconscious goes to work to accept the idea. I never knew that, according to Dr. James Murphy, that we get a new body every 11 months. And so many of us are just going about business like it's normal. Like we can't move past any element that we have. Subjective faith. The subjective or conscious mind of the individual is that amenable to the control of his or own subconscious, his or own conscious or objective mind, as it is to the suggestion of another. It follows that whatever may be your objective belief, if you will assume to have faith actively or passively, your subconscious mind will be controlled by the suggestion and your desire will be fulfilled. The faith required in mental healings is purely subjective faith. The way to attain it is to put an end to active opposition on the part of the objective or conscious mind. For an effective healing of the body to take place, it is, of course, best if both the conscious and subconscious mind are in a state of accepting faith. They got to be on one accord. However, it's not always essential. You can enter into a condition of passivity, receptivity by relaxing the mind and the body and getting into a sleepy state. In this drowsy state, your passivity becomes receptive to subjective impression. A man once asked me, how is it that I got a healing through a certain minister? When he told me that there's no such thing as the disease and the matter does not exist, I did not believe a word he said. I thought she was insulting my intelligence, and yet I was healed. How could that be? As I told this man, the explanation is simple. He was quieted by soothing words and told to get into a perfectly passive condition, so to say nothing and think of nothing for the time being. The minister also became passive. He affirmed quietly, peacefully, and constantly for about a half an hour that this man would have perfect health, peace, harmony, and wholeness. At the end of the half hour, the man felt immense relief and was restored to health. It is easy to see that his subjective faith had been made manifest by his passivity under treatment, and the suggestions of perfect healthfulness by the minister were conveyed to his subconscious mind. The two subjective minds were then in rapport. The man had allowed his doubts about the healer's power and the correctness of his theory to surface. These would have acted as antagonistic autosuggestions. The minister's suggestions have been seriously handicapped or even totally frustrated. In the sleepy, drowsy state, however, the resistance of the conscious mind was reduced to a minimum. The subconscious mind of the patient were receptive to minister's suggestions. It performed its function in harmony with those suggestions, and a healing followed. Before you get ready to go to bed, do an analyzation of your thoughts surrounding whatever result you need to bring about in your life. If it's healing, do you have thoughts of healing before you go to bed? I, so-and-so, am healed. If it's for your child, my child is healed. And begin to act as if it's so. The meaning of the absent treatment. Suppose while living in Los Angeles, you learned that your mother in New York City was seriously ill. Your first impulse might be to leave your home and job to go to her. But what if that were not possible? Would you have to give up any hope of lending the strength of your faith to the process of your mother's recovery? No. While you might not be physically present, your prayers would go to her nonetheless. It is the Father within that doeth the work. There is but one creative mind. The creative law of mind serves you. You must do it. What you must do is induce an inner realization of health and harmony in your own mentality. Its response is automatic. The inner realization acting through the subconscious mind operates in turn on your mother's subconscious mind. Your thoughts of health, vitality, and perfection operate through the one universal subjective mind. They set in motion a law of the subjective side of life that manifests it through her body as a healing. This is why in the scripture it says, when more than one are gathered in my name. This is what it's talking about. If you are of the mind of infinite health, prosperity, and wealth, you have no choice but to see it. It's when you're not of that do you see the adverse. In the mind principle, there's no time or space. The same mind operates through your mother and through you, no matter where you may be. In reality, there's no absent treatment as opposed to present treatment, for the universal mind is omnipresent. You do not try to send out thoughts or hold a thought. Your treatment is a conscious movement of thought. Your treatment is a conscious movement of thought. Treatment. Conscious movement. Move your mind to the thoughts you need to be treated. As you become conscious of the qualities of health, well-being, and relaxation, these qualities will be resurgent in the experience of your mother. Results will follow. Here's an actual example of what is misleadingly called absent treatment. A woman in Los Angeles learned that her mother in New York had suffered a coronary thrombosis. She could not go to her mother's side, but she prayed as follows. The healing presence is right where my mother is. Her bodily condition is but a reflection of her thought life. Like shadows cast on the screen. I know that in order to change the images on the screen, I must change what they reflect. I know that in order to change the images on the screen, I must change what they reflect. What thoughts are on the images of the screen of your mind? Because that is reflecting out in your life and in your surroundings. I now project in my own mind the image of wholeness, harmony, and perfect health for my mother. The infinite healing presence that created my mother's body and all her organs is now saturating every atom of her being, and a river of peace flows through every cell of her body. The doctors are divinely guided and directed, and whoever touches my mother is guided to do the right thing. I know that the disease has no ultimate reality. If it had, no one could be healed. And people are healed all the time. I now align myself with infinite principle of love and life, and I know and decree that harmony, health, and peace are now being expressed in my mother's body. My God, that is a powerful prayer. She prayed in this manner several times a day. She's keeping herself on the frequency of healing. When you do something more than one time, you increase the chances of you perfecting it. So if your thoughts surrounding prayer are initially perfect in healing, keep your mind focused and your behavior and your speech patterns on that healing. You have no choice but to experience the desired result. After a few days, her mother had a remarkable recovery. Her cardiologist was amazed and complimented her on her great faith in the power of God. The conclusion arrived at in the daughter's mind and accepted by her faith with perfect faith set in motion the creative energy within the universal subconscious mind. This manifested itself through her mother's body as perfect health and harmony. What the daughter felt as true about her mother was simultaneously expressed in the experience of her mother. Sometimes we got to cast out them prayers, not for ourselves, but someone down the street, up the road, in another country. Because maybe they don't have the power to pray for themselves. But if you're so convicted in their healing and in their blessing, that cup will run over and pour into that person's life. Releasing the kinetic action of the subconscious mind. A psychologist friend of mine told me that a biopsy had shown the presence of cancerous cells in a vital organ. Her oncologist recommended a painful and dangerous treatment. Before agreeing, my friend tried another approach. Every night before going to sleep, she quietly affirmed, every cell, nerve, tissue, and organ is now being made whole, pure and perfect. My whole body is being restored to health and harmony. Disease only happens in an unharmonious environment. What are you doing, saying, believing that's creating disharmony in your life? Say that again. What are you doing, saying, speaking, believing that is creating a inharmonious environment for you, your children, your friends, your family, your workplace? What are you doing? A complete healing followed in about a month's time. Subsequent tests showed that the cancerous cells were no longer present. She created an environment that became in harmony, so therefore she was healed. I was very impressed by this, but also curious. I asked her why she repeated her affirmation prior to sleep. She told me, once it is set in motion in a certain direction, the kinetic action of the subconscious mind continues throughout your sleep. That is why it is so critical to give the subconscious mind something beneficial to work on as you drop off into slumber. This was a very wise answer. Notice also that in thinking of harmony and perfect health, she never referred to her condition by name. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it with love. I didn't personally watch the Shannon Sharp and Amanda, I can't think of her name. Is it Amanda? Oh, one second. This is gonna bother me. Yeah, Amanda Seals. I didn't watch it, but I did see bites, like sound bites of the interview. And I don't want to necessarily use the sound bites as like a complete analysis of the conversation, just because I know how some of those can be structured to, per se, encourage clickbait, get us to click. However, I do want to kind of address these clinical diagnoses that Amanda discussed that she experienced. I, by all means, am not denying the fact that she may distribute some of those behaviors. We all do. It's just maybe the differing of the spectrum in which we experience that it may be highlighted to other people. But I say all that to say is, be careful about who and what you allow people to call yourself and what you call you. Everything don't need a name. It doesn't. Because we don't know, subconsciously we may be giving power to that thing. Or giving, I'm going to take that back. We may be empowering that thing, that diagnosis, that clinical definition. And like I said, albeit we may be distributing signs and symptoms of it, but that doesn't make us, we don't have to necessarily be that thing. We have the power to change that. And I'm trying to be, I hope what I'm saying makes sense, because I'm not a medical doctor, not been in med school, and I'm not trying to minimize any medical findings. However, I do wholeheartedly recognize the power we give labeling things that may not be for our greater good. Allow yourself to experience these alleged symptoms or conditions, but know that if you truly desire to experience something adverse of that, God enables you to do so. I strongly suggest that you stop talking about your elements or giving them a name, especially in the hours leading up to sleep. The only sap from which they draw life is your attention and fear of them. You're giving these conditions your power. He's saying, especially if you think about these conditions, beliefs, prior to you go to sleep, if you think about them in not such a great light before you go to sleep, you're programming your subconscious mind to be reaffirmed in these conditions. Like the above mentioned psychologist, become a mental surgeon. You gotta exercise out the mental thoughts you're having. If a mental thought is not serving you, just like how a gardener weeds their garden, weed and cut them out. Then your troubles will be cut off. Then your troubles will be cut off the way dead branches are pruned from a tree. I have not read this sentence. But the synchronicity. Y'all get the word, that word. Sorry. It's there. Stop allowing, I hate saying good and bad because we get so caught up into that. But stop allowing thoughts that adversely keep you from being who and what you want to be to grow and run amok in your mind. They're not going to get you where you need to be. On the other hand, if you're constantly naming your aches and symptoms and discussing them, you give them power over you. You're keeping yourself on the frequency of experiencing that pain. Your power is not rooted in healing. It's focusing on that pain. that diagnosis, you inhibit the kinetic action that releases the healing power and energy of your subconscious mind. Basically, instead of your thoughts and your power being centered on healing, it's over here. Polarization. Furthermore, by the law of your own mind, these imaginings tend to take shape as a thing I greatly feared. Fill your mind with the great truths of life and walk forward to the light of love. Ideas to remember. Find out what it is that heals you. If you don't know, journal it. Think about what makes you happy. Generally, what makes you happy, that frequency is higher than the illness. The illness. I'm saying illness. The illness. Focus on that. If you know being outside in the sun makes you feel better, go outside and sit in the sun. You're going to be closer to the spectrum of healing. Realize that correct directions given to your subconscious mind will heal your mind and body. What thoughts are you feeding yourself? If those are not directions of healing, big mistake we're making. Very big mistake. Develop a definite plan for turning over your requests or desires to your subconscious mind. Like she said before she went to sleep, geesh, today may not have went as I expected, but tomorrow is going to be a better day. I easily see myself healed of X, Y, and Z. I easily see what I couldn't accomplish yesterday being accomplished tomorrow. That easy. Say it, believe it, feel it, and experience it right before you go to bed. Imagine the end desired and feel its reality. Like I said, you gotta feel like you're going to accomplish what you didn't accomplish yesterday before you go to bed. Follow it through and you will get definite results. Decide what belief is. Know that belief is a thought in your mind and what you think you create. It was something that we read earlier. Hold on. I cannot think of it. I'm going to keep going. Maybe I'll find it. It is foolish to believe in sickness or anything that will hurt or harm you. Believe in perfect health, prosperity, peace, wealth, and divine guidance. And somebody may say, oh, well, that's easier said than done. Okay. Well, keep thinking those adverse thoughts, and you're going to have adverse results. Great and noble thoughts upon which you habitually dwell becomes great acts. If you can't see yourself moving past what was normalized in your family, no matter what it be, and I'm not no matter what it is, I'm saying be, sorry, I'm trying to be grammatically correct, but no matter what it is, if you can't see yourself moving past it, you're going to continuously keep repeating that family cycle. When you have the power, because if you're here, you're desiring to know and do better, at least I hope, you have the power to change it. It's in your words, and I'm saying in your words and your subconscious mind. Apply the power of prayer therapy in your life. Pray. I think I've prayed more in the last year than I've prayed in the last, I don't know. It's been a while. And I'm okay with it. Because for every prayer that I didn't say, I'm ever so grateful that I know to pray for them now. Pray. Apply the power of prayer therapy in your life. Choose a certain plan, idea, or mental picture. Unite mentally and emotionally with that idea. So many of us don't know how our emotions play into the current predicament of the life that we're experiencing. So many of us are just not emotionally happy. It's okay. Give yourself grace. Get to the source of what is causing that unhappiness, and to know that you deserve better. Better is there when you're able and ready to accept it. As you remain faithful to your mental attitude, your prayer will be answered. Once you've made peace with whatever is causing for you to emotionally not be having the great days that you know you deserve, not being in a space to receive abundance because you're so rooted in lack, and you begin to focus on those emotions that encourage you to smile more, for you to laugh at yourself when you done butchered half of the words in this chapter, because you know something you said is going to resonate with somebody. You're putting yourself in the right frequency to be where you need to be. As you remain faithful to your mental attitude, your prayer will be answered. Always remember, if you really want the power to heal, you can have it through faith. Just like you have the power not to be healed. That's your faith. Your faith is rooted in not having the power to be healed. You can have the faith to be healed. What is your faith rooted in? Is it rooted in you being healed, your family being healed, your family moving past generations of trauma, your children demonstrating the said trauma? You have to speak. You have to believe. You gotta act adversely to how you've been acting. There's more life out here for us to experience. I know personally for me, I'm in a space right now where I do not want to give life, breath, energy, anything to anything person, belief and thought form are the same, whatever. I don't want to give one iota to anything, person, belief, anything that is prohibiting and keeping me from being and operating at my highest good. I've done that. My mom and dad have done that. My grandmother and great-grandfather have done it. Their mother and father and grandfather, they've all done it. We've done it. It served its purpose. I no longer want to be on the frequency of that. I don't want my children to be on the frequency of that. I don't want my nieces and nephews to be on the frequency of that. And so on and so on. You have to have that type of radical faith that the buck stop here. I'm willing and capable of experiencing and being my highest and greatest self, especially if it's going to contribute to my kids and my nieces and my nephews and my friends and my family having a better and greater life. I'm committed. Blind faith means that a person may get result in healing without any scientific understanding of the powers and forces involved. Sometimes we want the logical breakdown of everything. When truth be told, quote unquote logic has us where some of us are at right now in our life. Sometimes you have to have that blind faith where you cannot see it, but you can feel that you're going to get a job offer next week. That unexpected deposit going to show up in that bank account. And you're going to be able to pay those bills. For those single ladies out there that are dating and then kiss so many toads, one of those toads going to turn into a prince. We have to have that blind faith, because the absence of that faith is causing so many of us to continuously experience a life that's significantly less than what we were designed to experience. Learn to pray for your loved ones who may be ill. Quiet your mind. Your thoughts of health, vitality, and perfection operating through the one universal subjective mind will be felt and made manifest in the mind of your loved one. There is someone's family member who the medical profession has written completely off. And everybody in the family, except for you that's watching this, have written that person off as well. But are you going to have the faith and the tenacity to change your thoughts and your prayers to divine healing? You're going to be the one that is going to cause healing in that family member or that friend. We got to have that blind faith that so many of us have abandoned because we're chasing logical processes. Whew. You avoid conflict between your conscious and subconscious in the sleepy state. Basically, when you get ready to go to bed, you're too tired to fight with yourself. However, you are in a greater position to be lighter and to embrace positivity. And if you have a problem with identifying, because so many of us do, I've been there, where I wasn't able to see anything that was positive because it was so much other stuff going on. Look at someone that you admire and begin to smile for that person, because if you can smile for them, you can smile for yourself. Begin to think those, I'm so trying to get out of the mind construct of using right or wrong, but to think those higher vibrating thoughts. Imagine the fulfillment of your desire over and over again prior to sleep. Sleep in peace and wake in joy. Stop going to bed mad. Husband and wives, agree to disagree. Stop going to bed mad because you're waking up mad. You're programming your subconscious mind not to love your significant other, to see all the problems, all the issues, when there's someone out there praying for that very partner that's sleeping right next to you. And some of you all may be like, oh, well, shoot, he or she can have them. That's fine. But at the end of the day, you never know what you got until it's gone. So once again, thank you all so much for tuning in, for reading chapter 5 The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. I'm Chastity. This is the healing work. Thank you so much for being on this journey with me. Like I've said, and I'm going to continuously keep saying, I'm not perfect by any long shot. My goal is to be a beacon and a facilitator for conversations such as the discussions in this book. Well, yeah, you go, you see it. To be a common practice for us to discuss amongst our friends and families. So many of us have been living for years, decades, a life that's just significantly less than what God intended for us to experience. And we're only going to get to that greater life when we begin to realize that and change our thoughts, our actions, our emotions into those desired things. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Love you all. Bye.